Welcome to the Look Good, Move Well podcast.
Well, I want to pose one more question to you based on one of the pieces of feedback or one of the responses that we got, which was someone who said, I know sometimes less is best, but how?
How?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the, well, yeah, Molly sent me an email like that. It was like this woman, and I'm not sure where she was from. She's like in her 40s, some young kids, and she's kind of on like the 90 minutes to 2 hours a day training, like follows persist, perform. And look, I do persist, perform. I've done it. I've done all the programs, right? You can do that workout in 60 minutes.
Yeah.
You just don't push it as hard on the weight training, and you do the 2x2 rule. You check some boxes here and there. You're efficient, you're on point, but like you can also do that workout in 2 hours if you want, hang out, warm up sets, extra warm up sets, get to your working weights, push your max intensity on every portion of the training, double down on the cool down, really get a great stretch, like do extra cardio at the beginning to really get do a 20-minute cardio warm up instead of the 3-minute warm up. Like this is where she's at. And this is just what her mentality of this is what I need. This is what's created success for me for so long. I don't want to give that up. And she was really like, well, how do I do it? What would be your recommendation? Because lately I've been thinking that if I put in a little less time at the gym, that might be more, I might feel better in my life. Not just in my body. But I think I need to have a little bit better balance. I might be putting in too much time there. And perhaps she's not sharing the whole story, but there's some conflict that's going on. And the question is how do I do it? And, it's kind of like coaching people who are been eating really low calorie for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what should I do? It's like, well, you should be eating probably twice as much food as you're eating right now. But let's not just jump to that tomorrow and start tomorrow. Let's not double the amount that you're eating tomorrow. Let's not cut the amount of workouts that you're doing in half every day, because that would be just too much and of a change all at once, that it would likely, you would feel like with change, there's always going to be something that feels a little off. There's some adjustment that has to happen. And if you change too many things or too much all at once, that's way too overwhelming of a stimulus for your body and your brain. And you'll likely only feel the negatives and none of the positives in the short term, which is not encouraging, and it doesn't make you want to keep going. It's like, well, that didn't work. So it's like somebody who you're like, I'm going to go on a bulk.
Mm-hmm.
And day one, you try and double the amount of calories that you're eating. And you're like, oh, I got constipated, or I'm burping all day and I'm farting and I feel bloated. And the next day, same thing. You're like, I can't do a bulk. It's like, well, maybe instead of increasing by 1,000 calories, you could have increased by 100 calories this week, and 200 next week, and then 300 the week after, and just sort of slowly ramped it up. And if you started to feel something that was off, just sort of stay there for a little bit. Don't increase, And the same thing goes for dialing back your workouts. It's like, I was in that place earlier this year where I was, in the wintertime when there's not a lot happening out in the world, I'm going to train a little bit more, right? Because I'm pretty sedentary the rest of the time. I'm indoors, it's cold, we're not outside enjoying the world. So I'm doing tough cardio workouts in the morning, doing training in the afternoon, basically taking no days off, maybe one day of only cardio, but I'm training every day. And I'm like, man, I got to dial it back. So instead of cutting a lot of stuff out, I was like, okay, instead of doing my hard cardio workouts, I'm going to just do a walk. And I'm going to do my training. Okay, now I'm going to skip 2 days of walking, and I'm just going to walk 4 days a week, and I'm going to train, my normal days. Okay, I'm going to cut these 2 workouts down by this much. And now I'm just training, 4 days of hard weights, 1 day of a fun weekend pump session with my wife, and I'm doing a few walks a week, and that's it, and that's where I'm at today. It's like the dramatic shift, but it happened slowly over the course of 7 months to sort of dial back some of my training volume in order to get more quality training sessions in and be able to spend more time on other things, which is kind of what I was, I think, needing. And I think that's what she's, inquiring about. It's like, I got this instinct that I need something. And, thankfully, like, a lot of things have improved for me from a health perspective. Like, I got off caffeine, which I was like relying on a lot, and I was drinking a ton of caffeine, which was affecting my sleep. And I was like always waking up at 4 a.m. like buzzing. And now I'm like having more restful sleep. I'm sleeping until 5 every day. I'm like, don't feel this like zing in the morning, like I have to go and accomplish a million things. Like I can just sort of ease into my day. I have like peaks of energy later in the day, which feels good. Like I'm more alert and engaged with my kids in the evening. All these things have happened that were just sort of like, oh, that might be something that I need to address. And it's kind of wild to think that it's been like 7 months of me sort of slowly shifting that.
Yeah. And I think that that's so important to create room and space for yourself to step down or step up what you need to bit by bit. Because I think if you don't, the risk is that not only is it going to feel very shocking and unsustainable, but mentally you're going to be thrown into the doubt of, is this really the right path for me? Because the change is going to feel so extreme that then you lose trust in the process. But if you have some smaller steps that you can accomplish along the way, it gives you the time and space to reflect and say, oh, how did that feel to take that workout down by 15, 20 minutes today? Maybe half an hour. Hey, that feels good.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm still looking pretty good and moving pretty well. Okay, I'm going to try this another week or so. And you can really have time to receive some feedback for yourself to judge and see how it's going.
Totally.